And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report. Today on the 19th of January, 2025. Yeah, man, you want to talk about not calling it. And number one of them days, the new SZA Keke Palmer comedy came in at number one with $11.6 million. Mufasa Lion King came at number two with another 11.3 million, still taking really good drop offs. Wolfman debuts at $10.5 million. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 made another $8.6 million. And coming in at number 5 to round out the top 5 is Den of Thieves Pantera with $6.6 million. Now, give me 1 second here. I want to get the box office report or mojo up here real quick. So let's talk about the two first obviously ones here. One of them days, honestly, and I think it opened like a day earlier in theater. Yeah, January 17th, not oh, no, wait, hold on. 17th was Friday. That's... they're factoring the Martin Luther Day weekend as well. Okay, that explains that. So $14 million is what it ultimately... They're saying it's debuting on. I don't know what the box office is. Probably isn't that high. But it does have legitimately, no joke, a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 92% from the audience. That's impressive. It's certainly impressive, all things considered. These comedies, especially the ones that come out in like January, don't usually attract a huge amount of attention. So the fact they were able to get any at all and get good reviews is a testament. SZA obviously isn't really an actress; she's a rapper first and foremost, but or at least a not pop. She's a singer. But I mean, I don't know. Obviously, many singers have transitioned to to movies. So, I mean, good for them. Don't have much to say about that. I don't know what the film was made on. One of them did. I mean, I could check, but yeah, whatever. And my guess is it's not made on a lot, and it certainly hasn't made its money back at this time. So we'll have to wait and see what next week holds. A movie that now very much has made its money back and is doing well is Mufasa the Lion King at $591 million worldwide to date. Again, estimated for Martin Luther King Day. Now, at 591.9, so 592, it doesn't change too much where it's standing. I think it makes it I think it does now hold the 7th highest grossing film of last year position, though. 1 second here. Yes, it is the 7th highest grossing film of last year, and it's going to stay there. It does not have enough gas in the tank, I think, to catch Wicked, which is at the moment at 709. So you're looking at a film that would have to legitimately do $120-ish million more. That it just does not have left in the tank. I'm not saying it's not going to cross 600 million. It certainly is. It's $8 million away. It's going to cross the $600 million mark. But it just does not have enough gas in the tank for another 120, I don't think. Now watch, next week comes and it's like at 675 somehow. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. But look, it goes to show that I am not a expert when it comes to a lot of things. I did not think it was going to do the greatest. I certainly didn't believe it was going to make $1 billion, and I was right on that. But at the same time, like with the opening weekend and everything, I just didn't feel any buzz. But it continued to go and chug along, and that family holiday weekend crowd for Disney in December. You can't underestimate that crowd because, I mean, they're now about to hit $600 million on this film. They made money. In fact, they made a decent chunk of money with this film. Now, that being said, it's still not $1 billion like they probably were thinking. Because, hey, the first one made $1.6 some odd billion. So this one should make, hopefully, at least $1 billion. But it still did all right. It still did perfectly fine. Just, I never once believed it would make $1 billion. And I've said many times why I didn't think it'd make $1 billion. Okay, now a film I thought would make over 11.6 million this week, Wolfman. What the hell happened here? In fact, oh no. Looking at these numbers, the prediction right now for today at least and then tomorrow is that it kept dropping. See, I saw the initial Friday. I'm like, oh, that's a little low. But, Saturday's usually bigger, and then Sunday usually tapers off from Saturday. It's a bad sign when your first day drops on the second day and then drops on the third day. That's a bad sign. Now, honestly, based on the numbers for critics and audiences, it's 53% for the critics, which has gone down even lower. So it's a little above 50-50, but it's about a 50-50 split. And only about 59% of the audience actually liked this one. And having seen it, having reviewed it, I can't say I am 100% surprised. Arlie, let me put it this way. I'm not shocked. I am a little surprised. Because the trailers were solid. And when they weren't amazing, like the greatest trailers ever, but they were solid trailers. They kept the marketing campaign relatively low. The movie itself is still got generally a positive rating overall. I think it's a well-made movie. I think, though, that they just didn't do a lot that was either original, new original, a different take on the genre. And this is the guy who did both Upgrade, which is a really fun movie, a really good movie, and The Invisible Man, which is another really good movie and a take on a classic movie monster character that we hadn't seen. But then you did The Wolfman, and it is a little paint by numbers, to be honest. And I'm not sure how much this maybe affected the film, but I talked about in the review how that leaked image of the Wolfman, that's not the Wolfman. That's not the Wolf. I mean, let me put it this way. There are, like I said in the movie or in the review, there are 3 Wolfmen in the film. There's one in like the very early scenes of the movie. Then we jump cut and there's a second one. And then there's obviously the guy who's turning into the Wolfman. It's possible that one was supposed to be the first one, but the problem is we never actually see it in very well. So I can't say for certain if that's what it was supposed to be. But I think that could have turned a lot of... In fact, if you were on the internet during the time that image came out, that did turn a lot of people off, I think. And I'm not saying that it's a definitive, hey, your movie's going to not do well because of the internet, but the internet now plays a factor in marketing. And it's become heavier and heavier as time's gone on. So I guarantee you that played a part, guaranteed. I'm not saying it like robbed them of like $50 million, but no joke, $5 million? Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to say that $5 million of audiences were lost just based on that design. Is it a death's kiss for this movie? No, because despite everything, it's still made about 16.8 worldwide, which it's only made on 25 million. That is one of the aces in the hole that Blumhouse always has, is that their films are made on relatively small budgets, sometimes inconceivably small budgets. Again, Invisible Man was made on, I think, like 8 million, made like $100 and some odd million. So these films are usually made on low budgets. Wolfman's only made on about 25 million, and then you factor probably anywhere from 20 to 25 million in marketing. If the film can manage to hit 75, it'll be fine. Blumhouse, even with its weakest sauce, very rarely ever loses money. But this might be a case where it loses money. I legitimately don't know how well this film is going to do, because we're still in January. There is nothing else coming out right now that's really vying for this type of audience. Even Nosferatu being out right now, it's in its fourth week right now. It's only making $4.3 million. Maybe this will encourage people to go see Nosferatu instead more. Nosferatu's doing very well. So I don't know. I like the movie. I thought it was a solid movie. I recognize the problems the movie has, though, so I'm not sticking my head on the sand on that. We'll have to see what will happen with this film. Not a good start for Universal, though, can say that. Paramount, though, is having a much better time here. 8.6 million. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, now the highest grossing of the Sonic franchise at $422.3 million. It was a little slow to get there, admittedly, but it finally got there, and it's congratulations. In fact, I believe it is Sonic. Let's see here. Sonic. He's got an attitude. Sonic. How much higher is it than the second movie? It's like 408 was the last one. 5. So it's already about 17 million more above. And it's still going to be making some money. I think I said it was going to cap out around 450. I think I'll stand by that. Like 450 to 475-ish. Around Venom 3 numbers. Between Beetlejuice, and Venom 3. That's where I generally see this ending at its highest. I don't see it, unless it's got another release plan somewhere, I don't see it hitting the 500 million marker. But who knows? Anything's possible. Either way, though, it's a good number. They got to be happy with it because they were already talking about Sonic 4, a Shadow spinoff series, but it was kind of slow rolling a little bit. But the beauty of the slow roll is, as long as the audience keeps coming back, doesn't matter how slow your roll is. You look at something like Avatar. Avatar was a slow roll. It was never number one at the box office, the first one, if I remember correctly. But it never left like the top 5 spot for God knows how long. Or something like that. Hold on. Avatar. Let's try that. Let me look that up real quick. Avatar. James Cameron's Avatar. Let's see. What was I'm trying to performance. What was that like? That's not what I want. I want. See, here's the This is one of the only problems I really have with Box Office Mojo is that after a film's done its run, you can't see its day-to-days anymore. How long it took. Let's see here. All-time rankings. Let's see this. Okay, all-time rankings. Lifetime grosses. Nope. Related stories. Similar movies. Whatever. And when did it open again? It opened December 16th. What else came out? That was Star Wars. No, that wasn't Star Wars. December 16th. What came out that year? 2009. Hold on. Trying to think of what would have come out that year. 2009. Let's see here. We had Ice Age. Maybe it was number one. I just know it didn't stay number one. It just stayed in the top 5 forever. But yeah, based on this, because this was before we really had the consistent $1 billion mark. Let's see. When was the first time we really started Okay. Was it 2010 and beyond? So then 2011. Yep. And then I know that's 2013. Yup. So yeah, okay. So it was right around 2010 where the shift happened, where we consistently had a $1 billion film every year. Then you can't count 2020, 2021 for obvious reasons. The pandemic happened, so you can't count that. But even in 2021, that being said, you still had Spider-Man No Way Home. So yeah. And then I believe it was Maverick the next year. And then Avatar too. Yeah, so, and Jurassic World. So yeah, you were starting to creep back up, and then the following year you had Barbie, Super Mario Brothers. So yeah, okay. But it was right around 2010 you had a consistent $1 billion a year film. And last year we had 3 films. We'll talk about Moana 2 in just a second. That did it. So look, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 the Sonic franchise has never been a $1 billion franchise in the sense of individual films. But if you do the math, this series has made $1 billion between the 3 films. So it's same with Venom, actually. I mentioned that Venom is actually like a $1.8 billion franchise. Something like that. And this film this series is like about a 1 point some odd, maybe like $1.1 billion franchise, give or take. So good on it. And it's going to continue to make a little bit more money. Like I said weeks ago, it doesn't have strong competition at the moment. So even though it's only number 4, it's not going to have huge drop-offs for a little while. At least not until February kicks off. Once February kicks off, then whatever momentum any of these films have is done. Because that was a weird thing. I was going to do that, but it's done. Because then you're going to get things like Paddington, Captain America, Love Hurts come out. Yeah, you're going to get these much bigger films coming out that are just going to kill any momentum these things have. Speaking of momentum being already killed off a little bit, I guess a lot of people did. I guess people didn't love Den of Thieves as much as they hoped. Dropped 56%, made 32.3 million right now. It's made on 40 million. I don't recall a lot of marketing. So at its lowest, you're looking at probably 20 million. At its highest, you would at best be looking at 40 million. I would probably cut the middleman out and say about 30 million. I'd probably average it out. Just because it wasn't heavily marketed. It was marketed, sure, but it wasn't like super heavily marketed. So that would mean this film's got to do like 105. I highly doubt it will. It's already dropped significantly from its very low box office opening. But the original one, if I remember correctly, made a lot of its money back internationally. So we'll see what happens with it. Moana, though. Moana made a little over $6 million this week. $1.012 billion. The third member of the $1 billion club last year. Look, people, if you don't think they're gonna really start putting a little bit of that axle grease, monkey grease, what they got, put a little was it axle grease, whatever. You don't think they're gonna like put a little effort into pushing out the live action in the third movie? Oh, you are mistaken. Because now we've seen that, people, even though the movie wasn't quite as good, people still really like this character and like this world. So we are definitely going to be pushing more about this. Yeah. And $1 billion. Look, it was once it hit 960, I was pretty safe in saying it was going to hit $1 billion. It was a little touch and go there for a little bit, but it just kept on chugging. It just kept on chugging. I mean, domestically alone, it's $445 million. That means domestically, it almost certainly broke even just by that alone, which means all the international is just the money it made overall. So that's fantastic. Because again, I reiterate, I didn't like it as much, but I still very much enjoyed it. It's still a very enjoyable movie. And I would like to see more from this world. So it's fantastic that this film did, in fact, not just make its money back, but made its money back in spades. Speaking of which, Nosferatu, a film that, if I didn't think it broke even and made money at this point. Because you're looking at a film that was made on 50 million-ish, probably had anywhere between, say, 40 and 50 million in marketing, or a little, maybe even between 30 and 50. So if you lowball it, this film made its money back a while ago. If you highball it, this film did make its money back. Either way, the film is financially successful. It was critically successful. It was audience successful. It's successful all around. It was a good film, too. Absolutely. It was a little unsettling at points, but I think that's kind of the point. Complete Unknown made our $3.7 million. Hey, finally got that international in, a whole $39,503,000. $139,503. That's what I meant to say. It's not making its money back. It's pretty done. It's coming to an end pretty quick. And now that being said, it'll probably linger because it is going to be up for award consideration come Oscars, so it will linger for a bit longer. Same with Wicked, but it is still pretty done, I would say. Like, it's going to make a couple million more, definitely. Maybe even manage to hit 70 million domestically, but unless the international comes in and offers about $50 million, it's not making its money back at all. Which again, to be fair, it's not trying to at this point. It's just going for the Oscar buzz. Timothy's probably going to get an Oscar nomination. The film itself will probably get an Oscar nomination. I mean, I could see Norton maybe getting an Oscar nomination. Although from everything I'm hearing, I don't believe he is up for any Oscars for a supporting actor. But still, it's a good film that is really just sticking around for the Oscar and the accolades. Wicked, $3.5 million. Man, if they hadn't put it on VOD at this point, it probably would have already surpassed Dune Part 2. As it stands, with only $5 million to go to do so, it will definitely surpass Dune Part 2. Because again, as someone pointed out, it's still got a Japanese release to do. Now, that Japanese release probably isn't going to be very big. Maybe 15, 20 million. But even then, that would still put it well over Dune Part 2. But as it stands, it's only $5 million away. Yeah, it's going to beat Dune 2. Absolutely. It's going to beat Dune. And good for it. I enjoy between the two of them, I do believe I had the Dune over Wicked. But if you're asking me which I'd probably watch on repeat a bit more, it'd probably be Wicked because I just like the music. I like these actresses. So, Either way, though, 709 million, man. They, you would be sticking your head in the sand to think that Wicked for Good, the part 2, won't be a $1 billion film, or at least isn't pushing to be a $1 billion film. Because the reception this thing got, yeah, it's at least got to be in the conversation for a $1 billion film this year. And then after that, though, everything else is pretty mild. I mean, Baby Girl, another 2 million, but again, it's a film that I didn't see and I'm probably not gonna see. The Brutalist, 1.9 million. I know this is getting some Oscar consideration as well. Not much else to say on that, though. Then you got things like The Last Showgirl, The Room Next Door. What the hell's The Room Next Door anyway? Ingrid, they work together in the same age, but years of being untouched, they meet again. Extreme but strange switch situation. Oh, okay. I have no idea what that means. Is that romantic or is it just, quirky? I don't know. Then you got Gladiator 2. Again, it's pretty done. There's not much else. It made about 500,000 this week. Homestead made a little over 500,000. It's pretty done. It's run as well. A Wild Robot got a boost because Oscar consideration, which, not that it means anything, it only made like 240 some odd grand. I'm not seeing Inside Out 2 here at the moment, but I'm sure when other films leave, they will probably put Inside Out 2 back as well, just because it's also up for Oscars, or at least it's going to be up for Best Animated Picture, definitely. It could even get a Best Picture nomination. Very rare these days does an animated film actually get a Best Picture nomination, but it does happen from time to time. And just to recap where I believe that stands, yeah, Inside Out 2. If nothing else, I'd like for Inside Out 2 to get a re-release just so it can make an extra 1.2 million and become the first ever 1.7 billion dollar movie. That's just me. That's just a personal thing for me. I just want to see the first 1.7 billion dollar film. But overall, it was a decent week at the box office. It was like around 50 million or so. Low, but it's January. Nothing you don't expect. So, that being said, this week we got Flight Risk and Inheritance, which, probably not going to, Flight Risk is probably going to be the big one. I mean, I'd love to say that, I would like to say that it's going to be Flight Risk, obviously, but I also thought it was going to be Wolfman, obviously. I think most of us would have put money on it being Wolfman this week. I will still say that I think it's going to be Flight Risk. I think that's still going to be a double-digit film. Maybe only like 12, 13, 15 million dollars, but it's going to be more than these. Now the thing about a comedy is that if the comedy is good and people want to keep laughing, they'll go back to see it. And by everything I'm seeing right now, it's got good reviews. The audience likes it. I guess I'll put actually though, Mufasa still, I actually think I'd put Mufasa over one of them, but then I put one of them over Wolfman. Then I'd put Wolfman, and then I put Sonic. This is probably dead wrong, but again, I'll go Flight Risk, I'll go Mufasa, I'll go Mufasa, I'll go One of Them Days, Wolfman, Sonic. Let me know what you think, and let me know why you think maybe Wolfman didn't succeed at the box office. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you next week for the next one. Later.